محمد سيدي سلام على محمد إيه سلام على محمد سيدي سلام على محمد إيه سلام على مدني حوصة سلام على محمد سلام على سيدي شريفي سلام على محمد ذكرنا بنا سيدي شريفي سلام على محمد ذكرنا بنا محمد سيدي صلي ولا المدني حوصة صلي ولا سيدي صلي ولا المدني حوصة سلام على محمد
Saha.
صحا.
Nice, man. That was beautiful. I've heard you play
Yeah.
so many times, but this might be the second time I've heard you play on Zoom. You know, you did that one concert with us. That was a virtual concert, and
Yeah, this is the thing. Like each time is a different vibe, a different spirit. So
absolutely. I mean, that's what gnawa is. It is a spiritual music, so it's every time you play, I'm sure, and I know it because I've seen you play so many times where even though I've heard you play the same songs over and over, every time it's like the sensation and the experience is always very unique.
yeah, yeah. It's always that's why I'm in love with it because you kind of think that it's the same. It's just the standards that we have, but each time, each master, each muallim plays it in a different way, and but I'm sure most of the audience now like wondering, oh, what kind of instrument is that? What is he playing? So I'm gonna do like a little demonstration of the instrument. This actually we have three names for it, so not to get you confused. Sintir, Sintir, Gimbri, and then Hejhuj. So whichever one is much easier for you to pronounce, just stick to that one. But you may hear me like, oh, the Gimbri, and then the next time I'll be like, oh, the Sintir, and be like, what is he talking about? No, it's the same instrument. Um, so this one was gifted to me by the maestro Muallim Hamid Al-Qasri, who is my Gnawa idol, my Gnawa maestro. He's my mentor. He's everything to me. He's the one who made me fall in love with Gnawa music. So this is the instrument that he gifted me, and the instrument itself is made of. It's covered with a camel skin, and the strings are made of goat guts. So you can imagine the vibration that all this instrument can give to you because it's all organic and it's kosher too, so it's like halal in a way. and and the body is just like a piece of tree, like a half piece of tree that's carved inside. So that's the shape of the instrument. And then, so this is the main instrument in Gnawa music. And then we have and then we have the castanets. So these are so loud, man. Like even for me, when I play them, and it's just too loud. I don't know why, but it's just loud. So I'll just do like a quick demonstration of them. How this is how we hold them. You know, you let them fall in your hands, and you know, you just play like let's say the horse rhythm. Like you know, when a horse is running or walking. So this is the first rhythm that we start with in the opening of the ceremony, which we're gonna come into that as well. And we use the other percussion, which is the drum. We call it tabal, and this is the sticks that we use. Like one stick is curved and the other one is flat, so it gives this sound. Oh, that's loud. Anyway, so that's part of the instruments that we have, and then we have the hats that we use just like for entertainment. And this hat was made for me by Hassan Hajjaj, who is an amazing photographer and designer as well. So for this, you just put it on your head, and plus, you know, I have a puffy here, but I'll see what I can do. Basically, it sticks like this, and you just turn it around. Up, okay. So yeah, so you just while playing the castanets, you just kind of go with it, and you do the dancing, and you do some kind of entertainment, and then we have this other hats that have like the dreadlocks. I don't know what's the history behind that, but these are some this type of hats. It's only in the north. If you go to Tangier, that's where you usually see this type of hats. And yeah, that's just like it's very basic, and just you play music.
Yeah, and it's not just any music. I mean, the music itself is so deep and it has such a rich history. The first time we met Samir, it was after a trip that I had just gotten back from to Morocco. It was the first time I went to Morocco for a few days. Came back and had the spirit of Morocco still living inside of me. And coincidentally, a friend of mine invited me to a place in Brooklyn called Barbez. And he said, there's this Moroccan band playing to
Yeah.
Friday night. Let's go. I was like, sounds good. I just got back from Morocco. And literally, I'll never forget, I was waiting online outside this tiny little place, Barbez, a mecca hub of world music in Brooklyn. And I just hear the sounds of the castanets from outside, just like shaking the walls. I'm like, what is this? And then I walk inside and I see, your band and the gnawa music being played, and I was just totally blown away. I mean, I heard it obviously while I was in Morocco in little bits and pieces, but something about that experience at Barbez that night and then meeting you, I just got pulled in. And I know a lot of people when they hear gnawa music, they get pulled. There's an energy and a spirit about the music that really has a magnetic quality. And then yeah, we just that was the beginning of our friendship that then just sort of blossomed into, I guess now, 4 or 5 years later. And you and I are just, yeah, very devoted to the same things. But it wasn't until I went to Morocco again that you helped organize a trip and I got to really learn more about Gnawa music that I realized, like, wow, this is more than just entertainment. This is
Yeah.
actually a music that has roots in, spirituality, and it is very much connected to, a music that can bring healing to people. So I wonder if you want to say anything about just like the root of Gnawa music and the connection that it has to spirituality.
Yeah, the history of the music, it was came with the slave trades, and I call the enslaved people because it was not something that they wanted. So those people that were brought to Morocco to serve for the king, Mawla Ismail, and they serve as part of his army and part of, like, architects. It was not just, this is something that I always tell people, like the enslaved people that were brought to Morocco from West Africa, none not all of them were just low class people. Some of them were like in very high position, where they were like really the generals, were like, the chefs on the kitchen, like being in charge of so many parts in the palace. So, and some of them were like historians, like people who keep the history, writers. It was not just like low class people or like people who don't know nothing. These people know a lot. Look, the music that they give us now with no notation. These people don't know nothing. They just like play, but that's the pure of the music, is that when you just in the nature and you listen to the sound of the bird, the ocean, and the trees and the wind, and you create music with that, and you just be like, wow, okay, So that's something that really fascinates me when I try to dig back a little bit in the history of my ancestors. And that's how we got transported and transformed into the new generation in Morocco. Back in the days, it was only for like black people. Like if you're light skinned like me, you won't be allowed into these communities because they were very closed communities that only do like these celebrations once a year, where they have like a musim, it's like a gathering, and they gather between each other and they just play. But because of them being in Morocco and their kids being born and growing in Morocco, that's the kids become like dual citizens, you know? They have the roots of their parents and then the local, like which is the Moroccan culture, and then the language as well. So because most of this music was sang in Bambarawi language, some of it like all the four tribes, like the Bambarawi, the Fulani, the Hausawi, and Yoruba. So it's like a mixture of like so many different cultures and tribes, and um, and the kids were able to translate what their parents are singing about. Oh, they're singing about this, they're singing about that. And then the locals were like, okay, so maybe we can start singing about our own good people of God, our own culture. So that's when Gnawa got mixed with the Moroccan culture as well. And now we have the Sufi in the Gnawa music as well, so like Abdul Qadir Jilali, like from Iraq, and the good people of God that we have in Morocco, Al Awliya al Salihin. So we keep singing about them, but from time to time you may hear some Bambrawi, like a word that even me, I don't know what's the meaning, because I have to go to West Africa, I have to go to Mali, I have to learn and study, which I hope I can do one day. And yeah, I mean, like if I keep talking, I'm just gonna be talking, 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 talking nonstop. So can you
Oh.
please stop me, Omar? Stop me.
I mean, I think the fact that there is so much to be said shows the richness, and that Morocco really was and still is this meeting place of so many different cultures and tribes and groups of people. And when people travel, they don't just travel with their own bodies and their clothes and that's it. No, they're bringing their music with them. They're bringing their food with them. They're bringing their languages with them. And Morocco, like, I speak Iraqi Arabic. You speak Moroccan Arabic. I don't understand like 85% of what you say because, Morocco and Moroccan Arabic is that mix of the Amazigh people, of the
Yeah,
Arab people, has some French in there. And so it makes sense that Gnawa has that complexity because Morocco is complex in a beautiful way.
yeah,
So
it
many
is.
flavors, like you like to talk about the tagine, like put different spices in the tagine and, it comes out to
Yeah,
something very, very delicious.
yeah, and that's what I always try to explain to my audience whenever I play. I'm always trying to, yes, I do fusion, but I'm always connected to the roots, because without the roots, like there will be no tree, there will be no branches. Like I won't be able to do what I do. So that's how I always describe that as a tagine. Like, yes, you keep the tagine, but then you add some spices to it. You add some, some sweets, and you just try to make it look nice and presentable. I mean, the gnawa music itself, it is enough. Like when you have the bass and the castanets, that's it. That's the beauty. Like you have the hi hats, you have the vocals, and you have the bass. That's something that really attracts you when you listen to a live band or like to any music. um, so you have all of this, but then I kind of want to break it down. So, like, instead of me playing, so the song that I was opening with, that's a song that's like connected to like four more songs.
Mm.
So, but I could not connect them all because then we'd be here for 20 minutes just me playing. So that's why I just, this is what I do in my fusion, my project. Just pick one song from the the tradition, and then try to bring it to life in a different way. So people like, especially people who don't speak Arabic, can be like, wow, yeah, I can hear how the trumpet is doing with that. Oh, look at the keys. Wow, that sounds amazing. So it's basically you talking to them with their own language in a way. So that way they can understand it. So, but I always keep the traditions, and as they say, like before you break the rules, you have to know them. So I
Yeah.
kind of know the rules, and I'm like trying to break them from time to time.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit more about the tradition. I mean, you were saying before, your teacher, your master, Ma'allim Hamid Al-Qasri, an incredible Gnawa musician. But, even in the way that you talk about a teacher, I mean, it's a little different than when I hear somebody maybe that's studying music at a college here in the US, and they're studying music and they're studying under their teacher. With Gnawa music and other musical traditions around the world, there's a very special relationship that one has to their teacher. Similar to in a spiritual tradition, somebody's master is like their guru. It's more than just the person that's teaching them music, is a person that's teaching them a way of life,
Yep.
right? Is
And
that
not,
kind of your relationship with Ma'allim Hamid, and like in general, what is the relationship of the teacher and student in Ganawa?
yeah, I mean, like with any teacher, like it's, first of all, it's hard to 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 be accepted so you can study under a teacher, you know, because Gnawa music, you cannot go to a conservatoire and you're just gonna be okay. Yes, I'm gonna pick the gimbri. That's gonna be my subject. That's gonna be my instrument for the semester. We just don't have that. And even though now in Morocco we have the young generation doing this, but still you have to do it the underground way. You have to be with the maestro. You have to hang with them. And if I'm telling you like I'm learning from Hamid, that doesn't mean that he's basically telling me, oh, this is where this note is, this is where that is. Just by them allowing you to sit next to them and watch and listen, that's them teaching you. Just by allowing you to sit with them, that's them teaching you. So um, because Gnawa, like each master has his own techniques, has his own repertoire, like the way how he learned the music from the older generation. So my relationship with Hamid's been just so, he's like a father to me. I go to Morocco, I stay at his place. He's very open to me. Sometimes I'm like, Maestro, like I'm stuck in this song. Can you please, break it down to me? Because sometimes you listen to the song, but then when you play it, it doesn't sound the same. I'm like, oh, I'm missing something. So I have to call him so he can bring down the spices into the techniques, because like you can play any song normally, basically. So I'm just gonna do like a little demonstration here. So like if you play this song, now this is the basic. Now this is basic, you know. But if you want to add the spices to it, it's gonna sound like this. So this is something that I'm like, oh, I have to call Hamid. So then when I call my maestro and he just, open up with me and shares everything. And then, because even in the lila, like there is the order of the music. Each city has its own order. So like you start with the white, and then you go to the green, and then you
Well,
go to
let's
the
slow down
blue.
here. Like for people that maybe don't know what lila is, right? Like let's get into some of that because like we talked about earlier, this music has its roots in a spirituality that has healing powers for people that may be in need of that. And so the lila is the all-night ceremony where Gnawa music is being played, and there is, usually a master of ceremony called a muqaddama who is
Yes.
guiding the ceremony, and the ceremony is broken out into seven different stages, seven different colors. So yeah, please share more about it.
Yeah. So basically, the lila means a night in Arabic. So lila, Lila, means a night in Arabic. And in Gnawa, back in the day, used to be 7 days, but now it's only one day. So you only do it at one night. So you start from 6 p.m. and then you go until 6 a.m. And, the muqaddima, who is like the shaman, the priestess, like the woman who is in charge of the ceremony. Basically, she goes out and she hires the maestro, the mu'allim. She hires him and she tells him what to do. So basically, she's the woman in charge. No one messes with her. And then she goes out, she buys the spices, I mean the incense.
Incense? Yeah, yeah.
Yes, she buys the incense, and then she organizes the night, and she makes the cooking and the food and everything. And then the maestro comes out and with his kuyus, like, which kuyu are like the people that plays the castanets next to the maestro. And then they go with an order. But the muqaddima, she's doing that ceremony for someone. So the maestro has to know which color that person is really being touched with, which spirit is connected to that person. So let's say that person is color is the green, let's say. Then the maestro has to play the full songs in the green color. He has to play it like really, really, really in details. Like you cannot just like, oh, I'm just gonna play it a little bit and then I'm gonna skip. No, you really have to play that color because that's the woman who organized this whole night. So you have to play it in a way where she can feel satisfied. But it's not her; it's the spirit that's believed to be inside of her. Like she's being possessed by a spirit, and that's how she makes peace with the spirit by organizing these leelas, these nights once a year. So I know people who don't believe in this. I know people who may be like, yeah, but that doesn't sound right to me. But man, I've witnessed that. I've seen some crazy stuff with my own eyes, and because like Gnawa, it's like it's African. There is the voodoo in it. Like there is so much practices that are beneath the music, and I try to stay away from that because that's too heavy for me. So I'm just focusing more on the musical part of it. And you have all the colors, and you have people like getting in trance, people like getting in trance. I don't want to get into the details. It's too heavy.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. And I got to witness it when, when I went to Morocco and you helped organize that trip. And although you weren't physically there, it was a group of 15 of us, most of us from New York, who went to Morocco for 10 days because we were really interested in Gnawa. We wanted to experience it in Morocco, and we went to different cities and explored each city's own unique flavor of Gnawa, from Rabat on the coast, and then we went to the desert in Merzouga, where it definitely had more of that African sub-Saharan influence, and then eventually to Marrakesh, and then Essaouira, the last stop, which is where the Gnawa festival happens every year.
Yes.
The very last night, we actually had the full all-night Lila, and yeah, we got to really witness this whole, it was like spiritual theater almost. Like, yeah, the master of ceremony, the woman, she was wearing different dresses throughout the course of the night with different colors, and she was performing all of these magical acts as the Gnawa musicians were playing music. and the music was just culminating and building and building and building, and it was very intense but very beautiful. I mean, everybody that attended, we didn't quite know what we were getting ourselves into that night, but when we woke up the next morning, it was like we all felt like something had been lifted. It was weird. And we still to this day can't really explain what happened, but yeah, there's some, metaphysical stuff happening. But it's interesting you say that you're not really wanting to go in that direction. And my question to you would be, is there any way that you could really only focus on the music aspect and sort of leave the spirituality behind, or is Gnawa in itself like it just carries that spiritual energy? So
Yeah, I
go
mean,
ahead.
the spirituality is there. Like, you're not gonna take it away. Even me, like, I remember one time I was playing at Nublu, and it was like a very good energy, the atmosphere, the space, the sound, something felt. So I was playing this song, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, something just hit me, and I just started crying. I'm on a live stage, man. Like, I'm on a set. Like, I'm not in a lila. I'm not in a ceremony. Like, with all these fusion instruments, and then it just something just hit me, and I just started crying, and I feel like goosebumps all over my body, just because at that moment, like, you need the right ingredients in order for you to be in trance, you know like, it doesn't matter if it's like traditional. Even you can have trance infusion, and that's something that I want, which is do the fusion, but still people can really feel touched by the music, still can be like, wow, I really feel something deep, not like commercial fusion, like deep fusion that people can really, wow, I can hear fusion, but I still hear gnawa in there. So to me, the spirituality is always in this beautiful baby. You never take it away. It's always there.
Yeah, yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah. And I mean, when I was there and we were interviewing people, because we also made a short documentary, a 5-minute documentary episode about Ganawa, just, our experience traveling and meeting people. And interestingly, one thing that kept coming up in conversations, some people fall on one side of the spectrum or the other. There are sort of the traditionalists that believe, this music was originally created for this ceremonial setting. It should only be in that setting.
Hmm.
And then there are people that believe, no, we're like in a new time. We're no longer like living in the same way we used to. This needs to be spread all over the world. And almost like that stuff is just woo woo kind of, it's not real. I kind of hear in you something in the middle where you acknowledge and you have honor and reverence for the roots and the tradition, and you want to carry that energy, but you're also here to make it open and available for people from all over the world, all audiences to come and experience. Is that fair to say that you're kind of like dancing in this middle space?
Yeah, and like as we say in Arabic, like خير الأمور أوسطها. Best of things is what's in the middle. So like you always have to be in the middle, and that's what I'm trying to do. Just respecting the music. Even people that come to me and be like, Samir, I want to learn the gimbri, I want to learn how to play, I want to, can you teach me? I teach them, but I always teach them like the right way how to do it. Because even the hand, like how you play, the right hand, it should be like the claw hammer, like the banjo. So this is the ancestor of the banjo as well, you know? Like the Nguni, the baby, the one from Mali, like that Nguni, like that's the ancestor of the banjo. So, and that's the ancestor of this one as well. So, like, because like you can play the gimbri, so, but you may not play it in the Gnawa way, in the traditional way. You know, you can play it, but you can add your own touch to it, your own spin, your own way how you play it, just like you play the bass. But I always try to teach them, play the gimbri like you're supposed to play it, and then you can improvise around it. Because to me, if someone holds the gimbri and plays it like this, like just like this, with the pick or something, to me, that's okay. But you can do better than that, you know? So that's why I feel always happy when I can teach people like the real way. And, it makes me feel good, and it's good for the culture, and it's good for my community, and it's good for Gnawa music. So,
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely. I love many aspects of the band that you're putting together and your sound, the sound that's emerging. And a beautiful thing is like, yeah, you have, backup female vocalists and who are not Moroccan, right? And I don't know, maybe that's common in Morocco that there are, let's say, female Ganawis who play Ganawi music or do sort of backup vocals. I never experienced that myself when I was traveling through Morocco. And so is that something that's like, that you're sort of pushing the edge a little bit with? Because
man, you're
I
gonna get me in trouble, Omar. You're just pulling my tongue in here, like, come on, Samir, say it. Come on, Samir, say it. All right, man. Yeah, I mean that's something because, like, you know, women are the base of of anything we do in life. We have nothing without them. So to me, like, bringing women and having them with me on stage, that's just a little tiny bit of honoring them, because as we said, there is no night, there is no Leela without the woman. She's the boss lady. You have to see this woman on the night, man, how she can curse people and kick them out of the house if they don't behave. You see her like a boss lady, and I'm like, "Ooh, okay, salute to you, madam." so so just having the ladies with me on stage, like Carolina, Mama, and Arta Jacobson. Sometimes Joanna joins us, Sivan. Like, I have this community of talented women, and who have the love for the music. Arabic is not their first language, nor their second language. So, and not only classical Arabic, so it's like Moroccan dialect. It's very hard, the pronunciation. Sometimes we can stick into a word like for like 10 minutes, just like working the pronunciation. Can you say like ha ha? And then they're like, ah, I'm like, no. Okay, so I become like a therapist, like, I don't know, I don't know, it's
voice,
like
like a voice, yeah, voice
trying
therapist.
to make them make that pronunciation. So when we sing on stage, even when Moroccans come to my sets, to my shows, they look at them. They don't look at me. They just look at them like, are they really pronouncing the words exactly or not? Because you know how Africans are. Like, we always go and we be like, try to really, make some notes. But then they come to me, they're like, oh my God, these women, they are on top of it. They really know how to pronounce and sing. I'm like, okay, thank you. That's all I needed, Like, that's all I. And even if you break the rules, just break them and do it good. Just do it good, you know? Anything that you do in life, just try to do it perfect, and take your time. And, having women in Morocco, like, it's not something common. But now there is like Asma Hamzawi, there is Hind Naira from Essaouira, like, playing and being like boss ladies, like they lead groups. So they play the gimbri actually, not only doing backup vocals. So they really lead. So that's something that I'm very proud and I'm very happy to see. That's, women are really getting into Gnawa and really being like, okay, come on, man. Like, this is not only yours. We have parts of this too. So I'm proud of them.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. Props to you for, pushing things in that direction. And it just, yeah, it sounds really fresh and really good. And anybody who's like attending this Zoom that's seen you, I think would agree. And if you haven't, check out Samir LanGus, and yeah, check us out on January 26th at New Blue in New York City as part of the Let's Dance series. Yeah, let's
Yeah.
dance. I mean, we're talking about the music aspect, but also just dance itself, like the act of moving and connecting through movement. And, of course, in Morocco, like walking through the streets of Marrakesh and the square, you have people playing all kinds of music, but you have a lot of people dancing, and they're really kind of shaking things out and exercising whatever it is that they need to get rid of. And obviously, Samir, it's what I've been devoted to for, several years now, is creating spaces in New York City and beyond for
Yeah.
people to just dance freely, without the need for drugs, alcohol, other substances, that music and movement is medicine itself. And
Yep.
just talking about dance, how does dance in Gnawa music play a role in the tradition?
Yeah, I mean, to come back to what you said, like about drugs and medicine and all of that. So this is something like whenever people see me like with my afro and my look and playing gnawa, and they're like, Samir, like, oh, can you get some weed? I'm like, I don't smoke. They're like, how come you don't smoke? I'm like, yeah, I don't do. I just this is my drug, you know. When you see me on stage getting high from the music, that's when like I really get high. Music makes me high. That's my drug. But like, I'm not into that. But the dance, sometimes you may be like really just walking in the streets. You may see a guy just walking, and then you have the Gnawis. Like sometimes do you perform this like theatrical shows on the streets because there is not so many places where they can actually go and perform. Because back in the days before the Gnawa festival, Gnawa used to be considered as a low class music, So the people that play Gnawa music were not considered as like, oh, like you are not comparing them to the classical music like Melhoun or like Andalusi music. It's very Gnawa, like just Gnawa, these people, just keep them outside, leave them. But come on, man, we everything, we have the roots, we have the origins. So me just thinking about that, I'm always like pushed, like, okay, yes, I have to do more. And with the dance, in the music, we start the ceremony with the drums, and then there is like a dancing competition between all the kuyus. Like the maestro plays the drums, and all the people like are watching you, so you have to do like a choreographer things, like a choreography. So you have to show up how you doing, like you're competing basically. And then you have this you have the people that dances, like they hold the castanets, and then you see them jumping in the air and just like opening their arms and then opening their feet, splitting the feet on the air. And to me that means like, look at me, I'm free. I'm no longer, you know having handcuffs. Like I'm no longer in that situation. Here I am, I can just jump, I can dance, I can do anything I want. And here I am, I'm free like a bird. So the dancing is very deep into the Gnawa music. And that's something that as soon as we finish with the vocals, like with my female vocalists, I'm gonna get them into the dancing, because then we're gonna do some dancing too.
Okay, I can't wait to see
Oh
that.
yeah. One
Oh,
thing at
but
a time.
I love that image though, and if anybody hasn't seen an image like that, it's sort of like a legendary kind of image that many different Gnawa musicians or dancers, it's like when they really catch the moment, they'll just jump up in the air, legs totally split, big smile on their face. And I saw it in person when we were at the Lila ceremony, and we were all just like, what just happened? It was as if he flew up in the air like 10 feet above the air, and we just could not believe what we saw.
Yep.
It's amazing.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like, with me and Gnawa, like now I miss so much stuff that they wanna go back to, but then I'm like, yeah, but if we go back there, then we won't have time. Like an hour, it's not enough. So
It's true. Yeah, I mean, we went for 10 days last, a couple years ago, and we felt like we just barely scratched the surface. Um, Good news is, though, we are planning a trip again, our second trip to Morocco in 2023 in the beginning of May. So Samir and myself will be bringing a group of maybe 15 or 20 people to travel through Morocco for 10 days. So if anybody's interested in that, we'll be sending out some follow-up material. It's going to be called Lila the Series.
yep.
LilaTheSeries.com. You can see more info about that. But yeah, I mean, now I think what you and I want to do together, where we're bridging the sort of live music with the electronic music. I mean, as a DJ already, that's exactly the kind of music I love to play, which is, traditional spiritual trance music cultures fused with electronic sounds. And hopefully, in the next few months, you and I can start to develop that together even more. And maybe
Yep.
we could really show something at New Blue when we play together. But is
Yeah,
that
that's
something that
that
you want?
that's a secret.
Is that something that you like want to get more into? Sort of the fusion of live and electronic. Um, is that something that excites you?
Yeah, I mean that's something that I've always wanted to do. It's just to bring gnawa into with a live band and then with a DJ, but not any DJ. A DJ like you, someone who respects the culture, someone who respects the tradition, you know? So it just, for me, I don't mind collaborating with different people. I did a song with a rock and roll band, but if you listen to the song, it's a Gnawa song, you know. But it's just like with another flavor, with like the rock and roll flavor, you know. You'd be like, "Whoa, can Gnawa do this? Oh, Gnawa can do so many things," you know. My other thing is just play Gnawa with a classical band. You know, you have like a band, like a full orchestra, and you play Gnawa. So it's like different flavors. And it's all Gnawa, but then people can be like, wow, you know, I hear the same thing, but it's kind of different. And also with the DJ, like that's something that I've always wanted to do, but just like I haven't met the right person that I can really work this thing with until I meet you.
Until I met
Until I
you,
meet you.
destiny.
Oh man.
January 26th, come
Oh yes.
through. It's gonna be fire. It's gonna be great. It looks like I think we have a couple questions from people, and thank you all for listening and for participating and asking these questions. So somebody asked, does the motif on the drum have a specific meaning, or is it just a design? It almost looks like a henna tattoo. So I think on the big drum to your
Yeah.
left.
Yeah, that's basically the the khamsa,
And
like the hand, and it protects you from, you know, the bad eye. Basically, if you see, I have one on my gimbal as well. See it? Near the bridge right here. There is one as well. So the khamsa is very associated with Gnawa culture and with the traditional culture as well. So yeah, that's something that protects the bad eye and the bad spirits from entering the space.
nice, nice. Somebody else asked, are the women who run the ceremonies from a particular family or class of people? How do they come into such a powerful position?
Yeah, I mean the position is being earned. Like you have people trying to at a young age, growing up with the Gnawis in their houses, their parents may be doing traditional ceremonies like once a year for a long time. And that's when you see these people like really learning the difference of the songs, the difference of the incense, the colors, the order of the music, the quality of the maestro, the quality of the music. So some of them are from like a Gnawa family, and some of them are just from like a very spiritual family or like a family who loves the music and attends so many leelas, and and some people are just gifted. They're just gifted with that, you know.
Yep. Yeah, we were blown away when we met the Muqaddama in Asawira because up until that point, what we knew about Ganawa music was only the musicians, and all of them were men, and we didn't really see this other side of the tradition. And so when we went to Asawira and we got to meet the woman who was going to guide the whole ceremony, I mean, then the whole tradition just opened up and it expanded our perception in a big way. So yeah, very very powerful energy that she embodied throughout the whole night. It's
Yeah.
not an easy role to have whatsoever because
Nope.
they're like you said, they're kind of like a shaman, a bridge between the spirit world and the physical world, um, and then also orchestrating the musicians and telling them what songs to play is very powerful. Okay, our last question. How is the experience of trance music and dance different in the Iraqi tradition from the Moroccan? Well, I don't know actually of trance music and dance in Iraq specifically. I did just come back from Turkey 2 months ago, and I was very interested and still am very interested in the Sufi whirling dervishes from Turkey, and they also expand to other parts of the Middle East and Iran, and some in Iraq and different countries. And yeah, I mean, there are a lot of similarities using music as a form of worship, primarily, as a connection to the divine. And it is not about entertainment. It is not about, receiving any kind of money or praise or anything like that. The primary intention is purifying one's heart, purifying one's soul, and the dervishes would come into the space, and before beginning the dance, they would make sure that they perform the ritual purification, which is the same purification that Muslims do before they make their 5 daily prayers. So they wash their hands, they wash their arms, their face, their hair, their ears, their feet. And so they come into the space physically and spiritually cleansed to then perform this beautiful ceremony. And it's usually about 45 minutes to 1 hour long. And the amazing thing is that as somebody who's watching the dance, you're not a spectator. Like you're very much joining in the meditation with the dancers because as they whirl, they're pulling gravitational energy from the audience into the space. And so as you're watching, you yourself sort of go into a deep meditative trance. And I felt the same way when I listened to gnawa music, where like you're not just a spectator when you listen, like you're very much joining in the sort of energy of the ceremony itself. And so yeah, they're connected. They're also very unique and different. And yeah, I'm just very curious and interested to research more and more. Um,
Yep.
Thank you for your questions.
Yeah. And I think, we look forward to see you guys on January 26th. It's gonna be fire. It's gonna be something beautiful. Like I'm also preparing something like in regard, dance. So I'm preparing something for the show, and it's gonna be exclusive for the show, and that will be the first time I will do it on a show, on a live show. So I look forward to see you all and just just have some fun and play some music and trance and dance. That's what we will do. And Omar, in a DJ set, it'd be amazing.
Let's go. You want to close us out with one final song on the given?
Yeah, yeah, we can close it with the Lala Isha.
Perfect.
So, this is like a black color, like, and Lala Isha is a very heavy spiritual color that we have in Morocco. So, you know, just play it. And if you're at home, you know, just close your eyes and try to really go with the flow of the spirit. الكريم الله ويا الله، هيا المعبود الله ويا الله، هيا الجبار الله ويا الله، وهو يا لالا عيشة ولالا، يا عيشة وعيشة ولالا، يا سكنة في الجبهة يالله، يا مولاة الويدان يالله، والسلبان عيشة ولالا. الكريم الله، الوحيد الله، المعبود الله، لا إله إلا الله، مالي يا ربي مالي، مالي من جون الناس، واحد ملك وهاني، هنا بيت عساس، مولاي دريس الوالي، سيدي وعمر توفاس. الكريم الله، لا إله إلا الله، سعدي بوليداتي خرجوا لي طلبوا، الجامع ما شافوه، الفقيه ما شافوه، هل إله إلا الله، يا والكريم الله، المعبود الله، الله ديم الله ديم.
صح.